In this video, we're going to be using the Stellarium mobile app to take a look at the Ursa Minor constellation, which rotates around Polaris with respect to why the Egyptians put the Mishtiu tool towards the mouth of the mummy, and supposedly what this had to do with the Orion constellation, which was the mummy reborn rising each year, and this rotating around once per night. To begin with, historically, it was German Egyptologist Ludwig Borchardt who, in about 1915, after forming the German Archaeological Institute, said that the Ursa Minor, which rotates nightly like this from sunrise. Right here we're looking at Cairo, looking eastward on August 6th, right at sunrise or sunset, twilight. We said that the Ursa Minor is this mouth opening tool. Here we see, secondly, that it was John Gordon in his A42 book, Land of the Fallen Star Gods, here's John Gordon, who said that this mouth opening tool, he cites Borchardt here, is matched to the first to the seventh cataract branch, or the first to the seventh gnomes of the Nile. And supposedly he said that Osiris maps along a delta like this, and somehow this tool helps to raise him from the dead. So we're going to look at what this looks like astrologically. So here we see this was decoded by me, I guess 2 years ago, that the Greek letter L, we see the Phoenician letter L overlaid on both the Mishtiu tool and the Little Dipper. And we see that the Greek L evolved from the Phoenician L. So I predicted or conjectured that letter L is based on the Dipper. So originally, here we see some of the kids blocks that I'm making now. I have all the way up through letter A, B, through M. So today we're working on letter L. So incorrectly I made this block showing the Dipper, the leg of Set, and the Mishtiu tool, which has a piece of meteor iron at the tip of it. But I have this incorrectly labeled as the Big Dipper. So that's what this video is about. It's actually the Little Dipper. So, secondly, here's the Mishtiu tool overlaid on gnomes 1 through 7. We also see the Little Dipper overlaid, and we see a pretty good match. Here's the gnomes 1 through 7. Going upward. Thebes is right here. And this fits fairly well. We also know that letter L has a value of 30, and Thebes also has a value of 30. So we have the conjecture that letter L is based on this Mishtiu tool, which itself is based on the Little Dipper, which is mapped to the 1 through 7th branch, or gnomes of the Nile, and that the Greek Egyptian city of Thebes specifically is numbered 30 to match letter L, which is letter value 30. And here's John Gordon saying the shape of the Nile between Diospolis Parva, or Hue, and Philae, which is right below Aswan, exactly fits the Apuat. This is another name for Anubis. So he says it's Anubis's mouth-opening tool, and Ursa Minor. So here you see Ursa Minor, the Apuat, or Mishtiu as it's been called, and also the leg of Set. And the leg of Set is what the Egyptians called the Little Dipper. So here we see the mouth opening tool overlaid, and here we see leg of Set overlaid likewise, gnomes 1 through 7. Now leg of Set, the 7 gnomes, counting here 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 7, is also known as iron, and Set has been decoded as the 7th letter. So this is another match that helps to verify alphanumerics, because the shape of the Set god, if we go to our blocks here, the shape of all of the early Greek Z's, there's Set sitting with his legs and his long head. There's Set medium standing, and there's Set tall, like this. So these are all the early Greek Z's, and they match the Set god, who is number 7. And here we can see the evolution from Phoenician in 3000 A to Greek Z, Etruscan Z, and Aramaic Z, and then eventually to Arabic Z, called Zayin, and Hebrew Z. Letter Z is based on Set, or Seth, the god of the Red Desert, the adversary of Osiris. There's his name in hieroglyphs. So back to our original mission here. This map shows in yellow the months of the year that the Orion constellation is visible in the night sky. So the top portion here is the night sky, and this is the day sky in the bottom. So it begins to be visible in the 8th, or August 8th month, towards the end of the night, right before sunrise. And then it becomes more visible at night, and then November is almost fully visible all night. And then November, as we can see in the 12th month that Orion rises from the horizontal to the vertical and stays and is visible the whole night. And this is where the story of the raising of Jesus comes from. And then if we go from December back to the 1st month, it becomes less visible at night, less visible at night, less visible, and less visible, and then he disappears here. Now this is important for us alphabetically because, as Plutarch says in section 42 of Isis and Osiris, that Osiris dies at age 28, as Plutarch says, but that he dies on the 17th of the month when the period of the full moon is over. So we're going to have to look for Osiris disappearing, because he's not in the night sky for these about 70 days, which is the number of days of the mummification process, until he reappears here. And we'll see that he's reborn or lifted up by the Mishtiu tool. So we're going to want to look for when the full moon ends its period in either of these 2 months, April or May. Now, alphabetically, here we see the letters and the corresponding months. So Janus is one thing we know for sure, that this alphanumerically matches Sampi. It's number 331. So this is where January starts. So in January, the Egyptians hold a soil, that's letter A, and then E and F are sowing letters. So we see the Egyptians sowing the soil, corresponding to either triple sowing or double sowing. And then once the plants are grown, again, the plants are the body of Osiris. Osiris has to be cut, and he's cut into 14 pieces by Set, who is right here. Set cuts Osiris into his adversary, cuts him into 14 pieces. So somewhere in April, May, or June, here we see April, May, June, when Osiris begins to disappear, the full moon is over, and Osiris dies, or he's cut into 14 pieces. And then the flood starts right here at letter N, the 150-day flood. So we will take a look at the 5th month. To see when Osiris dies. So if we go down here and we click to the 5th month of the year, we see that Osiris, the Orion constellation, will only appear early in the twilight. So we see right here, early twilight. And if we click forward, in May, Try April to see if we can find it. Okay, so April, Osiris will be, or March, the 4th month. April. Click through the hours, and here we see Orion. So Orion is just visible at the first hours of moonlight. He's only available for, if I click one more up, he moves a little forward. Now he's about to disappear. So he's only here for a few hours that we can see him. Now there's sunrise. And this is the 4th month, April, where he's barely visible. So we want to find the moon. Here's the moon right here. And we're on April 6th. 2 hours into sunset or moonrise. So the moon is full here. Clicking backwards. Full moon right there. Now we're going to see, there we see Orion. And we're going to click through 14 days, because remember, Osiris is cut into 14 pieces and then he disappears. And this is around April right here. On April 4th, when harvesting begins, when Osiris begins to get cut by letter M. So I'll click, he's gone there. We're going backwards here, but seems to be the only way to show 14. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the moon is almost gone. Osiris is about to disappear. That's April. Or now we're on April, but we're on March. So now we'll try to go to May, see if we can get Osiris to disappear. So we're at 5:25. The sun's about to set. There's the moon. So here we can't see Osiris in the night sky. So he's already dead. There's the moon. $4.26. It's almost cut up. And Osiris is right there. So he's almost cut up and he's about to disappear on April 26th. So we're going to say that Osiris dies somewhere around here, because after this month he's not around anymore. So we start going forward. We see Osiris here, 28th. Disappeared. We don't see him at night. There's the moon. Osiris is in his mummification process. So now we're at the 8th. Let's go to 8th. 8th month. Osiris start appearing. Right before sunrise. So he should start appearing right in here. After he's been gone for. So here he is, he's starting to rise. So Orion's been gone for 70 days, about 2.5 months, and he's starting to rise. And this is August 12th. So now what we want to do is take a look at Ursa Minor when Osiris starts to rise in August. There's just before sunrise. So the question is, how does this putting the tool to the mouth in these positions and this thing swinging around cause the Orion constellation to rise or begin to come from the dead? So if we look here, before, so here's Orion beginning to appear at 1926, right before sunrise. But if we go back to here, right at sunset or before moonrise, we see Ursa Minor. It looks like it's sort of pulling upward. In other words, lifting. This is where letter L is based on, according to the current consensus. Looks like it's lifting Osiris, who's about to rise over here in the east. So it's rotating upward, lifting. One step more. He's not there yet. Turn turn, and there we see Orion, or Osiris, beginning to rise. So it looks like the letter L lifts Osiris up. And then he goes through the sky a little bit before sunrise. So he's seen a little bit in August for about an hour or two. So that's what this is here, 8th. Now the 9th, Osiris should begin his 9th or September, but he'll be able to be seen more. So if we go up to September, we do the same thing. There's right before he's about to rise. Sunset. There's letter L, or the Little Dipper, pulling upward. And you see Orion rising, which again matches with somehow loosely with this Mishtiu tool being put to the mouth of the mummy in the different positions. Now, so we always see that he's only going to have a few hours here before sunrise, and then we won't be able to see him anymore. And he still doesn't look like he's sort of risen yet. But now, supposedly the key months, so now we're at the 10th. October, he's going to rise more. And there's Ursa Minor rotating upward, pulling Orion up from the dead, from mummification. And then he sort of begins to rise, and he's about to go into sunrise, where he disappears. So now we'll go to November, where we'll see that he's almost going to be rising for the full month. So we'll go to 11. We're at moonrise. Ursa Minor is over here. He hasn't risen yet, or he's risen yet. Let's take a look. So Ursa Minor's pointed up that way, and he's about to rise right at moonrise. First hour he's risen more. Second hour. Third hour. And sunrise. Now we'll go to December. We'll also look at this from the flattened point of view, as the Egyptians would see it. Now we're in the morning, December 12th. And we see Orion is already Let's see, it's right over here. We're going to go over here. This is, sun's about to set. As the Egyptians would be looking at things towards the east. There's Orion below the horizon right here. And he's about to rise. This is December. Click an hour, right there he rises. And it looks like this is right at moonrise. So we click one more hour and he rises more. So going backwards, looks like he's horizontal, like in a dead position. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So again, from the flattened position in. So then if we look at December 24th, which is everybody's favorite holiday, it's 25th. You see that right at moonrise. There's Orion. He's below ground. So he's mummified underground. That's December 25th. And now he's about to rise from the dead, just like Jesus rose from the dead. And he rises to the vertical position. And he's there all night. And if we continue forward, if we go to January, supposedly November, December, January, and February are 4 good months for viewing. This month, and this month are the best months for viewing Orion rising. Then he begins to decrease hours per night, and then he dies over here, disappears from the sky. So we're in January. '26th. There's Orion. We still see him rising. We can see letter L, or Little Dipper, or Leg of Set as it was called, right here. Okay, we're going forward. There's Orion. Still in the sky. Now we're in February. Orion's in the middle here, right by moonrise. So he's still visible and then disappears at this hour of the night. Then if we go to the 3rd, March 27th, we see Orion over here right at moonrise. He's only visible for about 4 to 5 hours, disappears. So then there we see letter L. Looks like it sort of is a lifting tool to lift Orion from the ground. Fourth month, April. There's Orion at moon rise. 2 hours, he's disappeared. Now we'll go to the 5th month. '27th. Can't see him anymore. I'll start counting down. There he is. The 12th is visible. But he disappears by the 6/5, he's gone. He's beginning to be mummified. Here's the whole year going through. Here's Sirius. The heliacal rising of Sirius is when the flood starts. And that's supposed to occur on about June 24th. That means Sirius has been gone for 70 days. And then appears just before sunrise on a certain day, which marks the start of the Nile flood. So I have to put our dot right before sunrise. So there's Orion. And there's Sirius. So heliacal rising, our month is a little bit off here, but we have August 11th. So anyways, here we see Sirius rising, and this marks the start of the Nile flood.